Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. Real quick, before I get into the topic of today's video, I just want to say the Discord is now open, at least for All-Star Weekend. I decided to open it. I didn't make a video about it. It just had a lot of shit going on. We have had a lot of bad weather here in New York. My windshield is cracked. We lost power. I just got power back literally an hour ago. So yeah, like President's Day has sucked. I got wind, freezing rain, and 25-mile-an-hour winds in the course of 48 hours, all right? So yeah, living in the Northeast sucks. But I just want to talk about All-Star Weekend because I put out a poll on YouTube on my posts page. It used to be called the community tab. Now it's called the posts tab, which is also the place you can find the Discord link in. It's open for 7 days. If you want to get back in, that's your place to do it. But we got 47 votes on this poll that I posted, and it was very simple. I was like, what were your thoughts on All-Star Weekend? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it better, but it still needs more change? Or was it horrible and it still needs more drastic changes? 11% said it was good, 26% said it was bad, 21% said it was better but still needed more change, and 43% said it was horrible and still needs more drastic changes. So I wanted to talk about this, talk about what I got to see from the All-Star Weekend and stuff like that. So I didn't get to see the Celebrity Game or the Rising Stars Game. I just want to say that. I didn't get to see that. I completely forgot. Friday night, I went out to play pool with the guys. We have a bye weekend in my pool league, so we've been trying to make an effort to just play more often, and we've been playing fucking phenomenal. We're in third place right now. We're in playoff standings. So I did that Friday night and didn't watch the Celebrity Game or the Rising Stars Challenge because that stuff used to take place on just Saturday night, and I'm not used to it taking place on Friday night. Like years ago I used to. So in my mind, I haven't gotten out of that mind frame of like, oh, it doesn't happen on Saturday night anymore, So or like or late afternoon Saturdays anymore. So yeah, I didn't see that, but I did get to see the Saturday night stuff, the skills challenge, the three-point challenge, and the dunk contest. And the skills challenge immediately gave me a bad taste in my mouth. Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama being the first fucking team to go in the skills challenge and being the first all-star event that I got to watch just seemed like they were just out there to be out there. They didn't try at all. They actually tried to cheat. They got disqualified. They were not trying to shoot the balls off the racks. The passing goals have gotten so big that like Shaquille O'Neal could pass a ball through them consistently. So yeah, the skills challenge is one of those things I wish they would replace with something else, like a giant game of horse or a giant game of 21. These are like 20. Horse used to be an event for All-Star Weekend years ago. You can actually look it up on YouTube and watch Pete Maravich play against George Gervin in a game of horse. It's actually not too bad. I highly recommend watching it just to get an idea of the format. But I was thinking like a giant game of 21 or a giant game of King of the Hill would be a lot of fun to watch on like All-Star Weekend. Just half court. Put all 20 or 30 All-Star participants or contestants or guys who made the All-Star team, right? Put them all on one half court. Like one court, it's a half court game to 21. I think that would be a lot of fun to watch for like some astronomical amount, maybe $20 million or something like that for the winner. The problem is I feel like that game would go on for hours, and maybe people would get bored of it. I don't know, but it just seems like I think it'd be more fun to watch than the fucking skills challenge. That's just my opinion on it. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to the park and you've played 21 with like 15 or 20 people, but it becomes hectic. It's a lot of fun, and usually the best player ends up winning, which I think would be a lot of fun, but you run the risk of guys getting hurt, rebounding over the back, people getting thrown on the floor and shit. So I don't know. I don't know if that would be a thing, but even a one-on-one challenge would be a lot more fun than whatever the skills challenge is. I don't think the skills challenge is very good. The Cleveland Cavaliers did end up winning it. I think it was Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley that ended up winning it. So yeah, after the Spurs got disqualified, league officials were pretty pissed with them, needless to say. They actually walked over to interview both of them, and league officials were like, nope, not right now. So yeah, they got yelled at by the league, which rightfully so. I mean, I think it was kind of deserving, but there was that. Then there was the three-point shootout, and I actually placed a bet on Buddy Hield to win the three-point shootout because he was the only like true shooter on that entire lineup. Yeah, Damian Lillard's a shooter to an extent, but he's really like an in-game scorer type of guy. Buddy Hield is a straight-up shooter. That dude is knocked down, okay? So I was like, yeah, I'm taking Buddy Hield. I bet $25 on him. Payout would have been $145. Bro destroyed the entire first round, put up 31, and then in the second round choked his ass off to Tyler Hero. So Tyler Hero actually shot pretty well. Tyler Hero ended up winning it all. But Buddy Hield, you choked on me, dog. You missed the entire first rack. You didn't make a single ball in the first rack. And if you would have made just one of them, it would have went to sudden death, and I think he could have won in sudden death overtime. But the three-point shootout wasn't that great. A lot of the guys weren't, like, even Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson only made 14 out of a potential, 30, 35. And this is the guy that Pacers fans are like, yeah, he makes us a championship contender. I'm like, bro, he can't even make 14. Like, bro couldn't even make, 18 or 19 wide-open fucking threes. So, I don't know. Cam Johnson just didn't have it going. There was a lot of guys who didn't have it going in the three-point contest. But guys are going to have off nights. You know what I'm saying? But Buddy Hield seemed locked in, at least in the first round. Tyler Hero and Darius Garland weren't that bad, but everybody else was pretty horrendous, if I'm being honest. Then comes the dunk contest. Now, the dunk contest, I don't have a whole lot to say about. Mac McClung did his thing. He's a 3-time champion. That man actually made more money off of 3 dunk contests in the NBA than he's ever made, like his annual salary in the G League. Like, that's fucking crazy. He's made more money doing dunk contests than he's made playing in the G League. But he did win G League MVP and stuff like that, so Mac McClung is kind of making a name for himself in the G League. But yeah, the dunk contest I thought was okay. Buzelis and Andre Jackson Jr., if I said that correctly, I liked what they were trying to attempt. They just couldn't get it down. So it came down to Stephon Castle and Mac McClung, and I thought it was actually pretty entertaining once we got to the final round. The problem is you need creativity, and a lot of these guys are just there's some creativity there. It's just a lot of them weren't able. Matas Buzelis actually had some pretty cool dunks. He just couldn't get them to go down. Same thing with Andre Jackson Jr. He had some pretty good dunks that just the creativity was there, just couldn't get it to fall. And Stephon Castle and Mac McClung were just on their game the entire time. Mac McClung didn't miss a dunk the entire dunk contest, I don't think. Actually, no, he did miss jumping over the car one time. I think it was because the guy wasn't holding the ball in the right spot. But Mac McClung jumped over a car, then did the whole Aaron Gordon thing with a guy spinning and dunked 2 basketballs. So Mac McClung did really, really well, and so did Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle, I thought they were both very entertaining. And hopefully dunk contests continue to go that way. But the dunk contest I thought was a little bit better this past year than it normally is. So that's the dunk contest. Now we get to the All-Star game, and I'm just going to be honest, the All-Star game was kind of It was okay, but it wasn't great. I like the 4-team format thing. However, Shaq's OGs, there was a lot of, LeBron decided not to play an hour before the game started. Anthony Davis didn't play. Giannis didn't play. There was a lot of guys who were injured that simply just didn't play in this. And I actually thought the international team with Jokic on it, Karl Anthony Towns, Wemby, SGA, I thought they would win the whole thing. And when it came to playing the final game, it seemed like they just simply weren't trying. Jokic especially. Jokic looked like he wasn't trying at all. Yeah, that game, it was good up. It was good up until it got to the final game. As soon as Shaq's team got ahead of Chuck's by 13 or 15 points, and the score limit is 40, it just became a shooting contest essentially. Steph Curry was hitting shots from half court, which is always fun to watch, but it became incredibly uncompetitive, incredibly quick. So I think that's why most people had a problem with it. And even I'm to a point where I don't really feel like watching the All-Star game anymore. But I do have a solution. I've gotten to a point now where I have a solution for the All-Star game. And I was thinking about this last night, and we were talking about it in the Discord. I think it was Blues who brought up the idea that the winning team should receive nothing. And that got me thinking. I was like, you know what? You know what they should do for the All-Star game? If they really want it to be entertaining, have one game, $250 million, the like prize pot. The pot's $250 million. You're looking at anywhere from 20, maybe you go to $25 million per player for the team that wins. Team that loses wins nothing. And what you do is you take all-star votes. There's all-star voting, but it's only for team captains, right? So let's say LeBron and Giannis are now the team captains, but they're not going to choose the players. Every player that was voted into the All-Star game, after votes are collected, they each get a random number, and it's all thrown into a hat, and it's going to be fucking televised, right? Every player gets a number. Trae Young gets number 11. LeBron gets number 4, and Luka Doncic gets number 7. And they throw the names into a hat. They shuffle it up, right? And they make the players pick names without looking at it, right? Whatever team you pick out of that hat is your team. And then I think for reserve players, right? I think, like, this is just my opinion on it, and this is probably where things go a little hazy, but I feel like your reserve players should have to be maybe guys that are only... I don't even really know how I would go about this, but I feel like there should be a mix of young players in it. And there always will be. You're always going to have your guys like Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Davis and, your I don't know, who else? Who else was a first-time All-Star? Cade Cunningham, I think, was a first-time All-Star this year. I could be wrong on that, but you're always going to have your young guys in the All-Star game that will maybe play harder than the older guys. However, I feel like if you put $20 million per player or $25 million per player for the winning team on the line, you're not going to have competition problems. You're just not. LeBron James makes $543,000 per game in the NBA for every game he plays. Having one game where you can make almost half your annual salary or exactly half your annual salary is a game I guarantee you these motherfuckers are going to try to play in. All right? Like, that's where I'm at now with the NBA. I'm like, yeah, $250 million seems like a lot of money, and it probably cost them even more money than that to put on the All-Star weekend. But after what I watched with the All-Star game, it felt like an entertainment thing more than a basketball thing. Like, they had fucking Kevin Hart, which I thought was kind of corny. This DJ Cassidy or whatever the fuck his name is, and all this other stupid halftime bullshit and stuff like that. Like, I just want to see a game. Like, I'm not here for all the intermittent bullshit. The tribute to the NBA on TNT cast was pretty cool. I do like that. It's nice that they're like showing respect to them. So I can't complain about that because I understand why that exists. But all the Kevin Hart bullshit just felt unneeded. Like, I like the amount of money they spent to have Kevin Hart there, they probably could have put towards a prize pool to like make these guys actually give a fuck. So that's what I think the NBA should do. And on top of it, when you consider the amount of people that would be watching that, you'll probably make your money back on that just in that TV deal. I mean, their TV deals worth billions of dollars. $250 million for the winning team means you would get everybody to try. And the reason I say you would get everybody to try is because it's a win for everybody. It's a win for young players that haven't gotten that huge contract extension to kick in yet, right? Even if it does, it's still half their annual salary for the most part, or at least in the ballpark of half of their annual salary, at least a quarter of it, right? Then you have the OGs, like the older guys, your LeBrons, your Stephs, your Kevin Durants, who are getting to a point where, they might not see insane amounts of money anymore in their career. Not like that won't ever happen, but it's just the idea, like $20 million to a guy that's 40 or 41 years old and is considering retiring, especially if you're in your last year or second to last year in the league. One game for $20 million to you, it's a lot of bread, especially when you consider the idea post-retirement, guys aren't playing anymore. They need to chill out a little bit on how they spend. The ability to make $20 million for one game, you can't tell me they wouldn't try. That's all I'm saying. You can't tell me they wouldn't try. When you consider the idea that most of the guys, even getting paid in the $50, $60 million a year range, are only making at max $3 or $4 million a game, if that, you can't tell me for one game to potentially win $20 to $25 million, they would not try. Yeah, I'm sorry. I find that very hard to believe. I find it very hard to believe that these guys would not try if that was the prize pool, especially when you get to send the other team home with nothing. I feel like it would be a bet. You would see the most defense ever played in an all-star game in your fucking life. I guarantee it. So that's what I think the NBA should do for the All-Star game. And you know what? That makes sense. I think that makes sense. You have well over $250 million worth of talent playing in it, right? So you can't tell me people wouldn't want to watch that. Like, to see a team win $250 million and you actually have to, like, D up, right? You got to D up. You got to make it competitive. You can still have your highlight moments, and I'm sure you're going to get them. But, like, there needs to be something else other than $500,000 per player on the winning and losing team or some stupid shit like that. The significance, like, it's literally just another game to them. That's the problem with it. $500,000 is what, $43,000 less than what LeBron makes to go step out on a court on a nightly basis. All right, so you would have to come to them with some type of deal. Right? Like, because $20 million for one game, suddenly it's worth it. Suddenly, that's enough to get people out of their fucking chairs. I mean, what is the, let's take a look. Let's see, Jaylen Brown, I think, is the most highest paid player in the NBA at this point. I could be wrong, but how much does Jaylen Brown make per game? It doesn't even say. All right, so let's what's his salary? $52 million. So let's just go makes about $1.5 million a game. All right, so yeah, 1.5. Yeah, you're talking serious bread if you can win the All-Star game. And yeah, you probably wouldn't even have to make it that much, to be honest. You could probably make it $10 million a player to win that game, and they would try. Just because it's significantly more money than they would make playing any regular game. And I think that has some type of significance to it. If you can just have like $200,000 or $200 million prize pool, winner take all, get motherfuckers to show up. You would get the most competitive All-Star game you've probably ever seen. And I feel like that's what it's going to take, especially for these young bloods. Like I said, you're a young blood trying to make some money, trying to get your money right. That's a good game to do it in. That's a good game to come out and be like, yeah, I'm winning this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Or you're an OG on your way out of the league, $20 million to put in your pocketbook right before you retire. It's a nice payday for one game. That's all I'm saying. So you can see where on both ends of the spectrum, right, like it benefits. So, and that's what I think the NBA should have been doing since they implemented the All-Star game, is just have some type of really, really big prize pool, because at this point, there's no incentive for them. This is an exhibition game. And I think if it's an exhibition game, there needs to be some level of speciality to it. And it being the All-Star game, yes, it's supposed to be a speciality. I would think generally, because it's the All-Star game and you're playing against the greatest players in the world, there should be a high prize pool for that, right? Or am I wrong? Am I wrong with that? Like, that is arguably the toughest basketball game. They like, theoretically or hypothetically speaking, right? Or in theory, that should be the hardest game they're going to play all year. 10 to $20 million per player for the winning team. Loser walks home with nothing. Like, that should be the hardest game of the year. Granted, you could argue playoffs, game sevens, I get that. But theoretically speaking, talent-wise, okay, that should be the hardest game they play all year. And if that's the case, right, if that's the ideology, they should get paid like it. Right? Am I right or am I wrong? Or am I missing something? Like, that's what I think should happen with the All-Star game. So, anyway, guys, tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. What did you guys think about the All-Star weekend? I'd like to hear what you guys think about it. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. I'm the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.